Hi, everyone. This is Stephanie Mann at the Safe Kids Now show, and thank you so much for joining us today. I am really excited to welcome a comedian, which we haven't had before, and his name is Greg Schwam, and he's a television travel host, a best-selling author, a national syndicated humor columnist for the Chicago Tribune, and he's a syndicated and award greeting card writer. Oh my goodness. And also, I might add, he is the winner of the Telly Award, honoring outstanding broadcast content in television, travel, and tourism categories. So welcome to Greg Schwam. Hi, Greg.
How are you? Yeah, you changed the pronunciation of my last name. You got it right on the second time. It's
Oh, I
Schwem.
did.
Yes,
Oh, sorry
right.
about that.
Everybody messes it up though, so no worries.
It's
How are
tricky.
you?
I'm
It
good.
is.
I'm good. I'm so pleased you could join us today because you are a comedian, and it seems that comedians are in the news right now. In as
Did
much,
something happen, Stephanie?
let me think.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was the other day at the Academy Awards,
Memory
and we
serves.
saw an incident that a lot of people are reacting to. And, I remember Don Rickles, who used to be what did they call him? He was an insult comedian.
Insult comic. Yeah.
And it seems that we're in a very interesting place today because here we are, and here comes, well, let me just ask you, what do you think of what happened at the Academy Awards when you saw
Yeah.
Chris Rock
Right.
being attacked? So
Right.
let me hear what you think.
Yeah, obviously, my initial reaction was, whoa, that was very much uncalled for. And I will stand by that. I believe it was. I think though, once you get past that, I will say one thing about that incident that maybe was a good thing. And you're probably wondering what is good about this, but I think it really reopened the discussion of humor and
Mhm.
the appropriateness of humor. It seems like we live in a society now where it's funny till it isn't when it affects us, when it affects one person. And I think that's something that we really have to start discussing as a society.
Yeah, do you think we're too sensitive?
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, absolutely. We absolutely have. And
I think so too.
we want to laugh as long as we, and when I say we, I mean me, us as an individual think it's funny. And this is something I talk about. I do all of my presentations that I do. I rarely do comedy clubs now. Most of my shows and presentations are for big business groups and Fortune 500 companies. And it's a subject that I have had to really discuss a lot and I'd say defend myself in a lot of times, because what happens with companies, they hire me, and I've spoken for some of the biggest companies in the world, and they hire me and they're like, we really want to laugh, Greg. The pandemic is over, more or less. We're back to meeting face to face. We need to laugh and so forth. providing you don't talk about any of these topics.
Uh-oh.
And
Dear.
sometimes the time they told me what not to talk about, there's nothing left to talk about. And I think that's something that we really are going to have a reckoning with. And I think that incident uh, is something that has gotten a lot of people talking about how people of different cultures, different races, different ethnicities, different age groups
Mhm.
respond to what they think is funny. And I think it's a good conversation to have.
Okay, now who do you see addressing this in a practical way and talking about the sensitivity of different cultures and how do we go about having a good discussion about it?
Well, the key word you said was discussion. And I think
Yeah.
what has to happen is, I think too often, and I think you see this in the business world a lot, is somebody says something that somebody else finds offensive and they run to HR and they say, I'm offended. I can't do my job. What are you going to do about him or her? And
That's right.
HR in just trying to be done with it says, okay, we'll fire him or her. Are you happy now? Which is not the right thing to do.
No.
Maybe it is in certain extreme cases, but it's not. I have found that if you have people actually discuss it, the offender and the offendee per se, you'll be amazed at how you can maybe come to an agreement on this is why I think it's funny, and if you don't, we can agree to disagree. But there's a lot more the positive benefits of humor far and always will far
Agreed.
outweigh the negative ramifications. So to eliminate humor, I mean, I have a new keynote that I wrote during the pandemic called "You Can't Cancel Laughter," and unfortunately, that is you keep hearing words now about mental health and employee retention and worker burnout and so forth, and the whole idea is to build a positive working environment, a fun working environment. That's what companies are trying to do to attract the best employees. Well, part of building a fun work environment is the ability to laugh. I think because when you are eliminating laughter, it's no longer fun.
No, you're right. Well, do you think this discussion will make people a little fearful? I mean, comics fearful of somebody coming up on stage? And
We as comics have discussed that. Yes,
oh, have you?
I
Okay.
think, but I think the fact that just about most people did side with Chris Rock in that incident. Like,
I would
wow,
hope so.
because we are naked out there. It is no secret. We are naked. We don't have a plexiglass shield. We don't have chicken wire. Well, I've never played those places, but but we don't, and we just we hope that even if people don't find us funny, I mean, I my ego is not so big that I am going to think every single person in a room is going to find me hilarious. But all I can do is say, there are other ways to express your displeasure. One of them is just don't laugh. Don't laugh. I'm sorry I didn't make you laugh. I'm sorry you don't find my humor to
Yeah.
your liking. But if you just and if everybody doesn't laugh, I will get the message very quickly that joke
Yeah.
was not funny, and I won't do it anymore.
Uh,
But go to the restroom, ask for a refund, any kind of thing. But yeah, don't take matters into your own hands.
Yeah, and I don't think most people, well, I know most people would not do that at all. It'd be
Mhm.
very few people that would even consider that.
Yeah.
But tell me, what is the difference between being a comedian and a corporate comedian? What because I
Right.
know you've gone into corporate comedian
Mhm.
um, type of
Yeah, and
work.
it's a great question. It's a very small niche. I just decided long ago. I started getting invited to speak for corporations because I was doing material in my club act about computers and learning how to run a computer and stuff you might see in the business world. And I was having people come up to me and saying, we'd really love to have you at our offsite event or our 3-day sales conference and so forth. And I started doing shows for these companies, and I realized, this is a group of people that I feel very comfortable making laugh about themselves and who desperately need to. I think the main difference is when I'm speaking to people, they're still technically at work. When you're a club comedian, you're
Right.
doing it at night. People are there for entertainment. They've been drinking probably. That can
Yeah.
work. That can help. It can also hurt. I am speaking to people when they're still in a work setting. So I have
Right.
to make them laugh about what is relevant to them. And because they're in a work setting, I have to make them laugh about their jobs and their industries.
Well, I might mention that if we have some guests that have tuned in. So if you have questions, please put them on the side here. You can type them right into our chat box, and Greg would love to hear from you.
Mhm.
Well, Greg,
Yeah.
been a comedian how long?
32 years full time.
Wow.
How
You know,
about that?
when I first met you, you were on a cruise ship,
I
and
was
I have,
working,
and I
not
remember,
drinking. Yeah.
I remember talking to you, and I have been on cruise ships, and I've heard the comedians, but this is the first time I'd really had a chance to talk to anybody that was actually working on it on the cruise ship. So, what's the difference between corporate and cruise ships? Is it a totally different message, or
It
your
is. It
audience?
is. Now, the cruise audiences goes back to a little bit more of what you find in a comedy club and the fact that they are there to be
Okay.
entertained. Everybody on a cruise ship is on vacation. So
Right.
obviously they're in a good mood. And
Yeah.
I find those audiences, I mean, some entertainers will kind of roll their eyes when you say you work cruise ships, and that's their loss, I think. I love those audiences because you get such a hodgepodge of humanity on a cruise. You get different countries and different languages being spoken, and people from all walks of life. You get different demographics, different income levels, all coming together. But the one reason that they all came together is they thought this would be a really fun way to spend a week, and or two or whatever. And I found those kind of audiences to be very intriguing, which is why I enjoy working with them.
Oh, well, oh, and for example, what is your favorite part of being a comedian? I mean, everybody loves to receive adulation and so forth,
Mhm.
but you've been doing this a long time, and you have to do a lot of preparation before you even get on stage.
I do.
So, what is your favorite part of doing all of that?
I think, and you're right about that. I mean, obviously, when you work in the corporate sector, you have to do a lot of research ahead of time on the company or the association that you're working
Right.
for. I enjoy doing that because I do believe my favorite part of this job is making people feel better when they leave than when they came in. If I can send them
Yeah.
away feeling happier or more upbeat, maybe they were having a bad day, that to me, there's everybody should be able to get that feeling. I think everybody. I wish everybody could have that feeling of having a whole crowd. You say something, and then everybody laughs at you, and then shuts up because you're about to talk again. That's a drug, is what that is. That's a feeling that I don't think you could get from any kind of a drug, and I wish everybody could experience that. And to be able to do that on a daily basis, no better job in the world.
Well, now, what made you decide 32 years ago or earlier that you
Yeah,
wanted to be a comedian? What were you doing before that time? And what was in your decision for
yeah,
doing it?
yeah. Well, I've always enjoyed comedians. I've always enjoyed watching comedians late at night. And I thought it would be a fun. I like performing. I like making people laugh from a very early age. I mean, we're talking like 6 or 7. I remember liking make people laugh and liking that reaction. Um, and I thought it would be when I was in high school. I thought it would be fun to try, and I did, and immediately became hooked on it and did it in college. You asked what I did before. I studied journalism, and I became a journalist because I thought comedy should not be. It never entered my mind that comedy should be a career. It should be a hobby.
Right.
I went to school to get a degree, and that's what I should use. And so I was a newspaper and then a TV news reporter down
Hmm.
in Florida. That was my career. I enjoyed doing it. I thought I was pretty good at it, but I was always doing stand up on the side because it
Oh,
goes back to that drug thing. I
yeah.
want That's not something that goes away. And eventually, I just decided I liked making people laugh more than I liked depressing them. And I felt like as a journalist, sadly, that's what I was doing on a daily basis was
Oh,
delivering the bad. because unfortunately, that is a good part of news now is bad news. And then I
It's
would,
all too much
yeah,
bad
and then
news.
I would leave the newsroom and I would go make people laugh 3 hours later, and it's like why would the decision became very easy at a certain point.
Well, we have a question from Rebecca. Rebecca Kimball here is asking, laughter is healing. I hope we never stop enjoying laughter. Okay, she made a comment. And then
Mhm.
Cecily has said, do you keep a notebook of jokes?
I do. Yes, I do. That's a very good question, Cecily. There are some comics. Jay Leno says he never writes anything down. I've seen Jay Leno do 2 hours. I don't know how you can do that, but yes, I do. Now, but I'll preface that I do keep a notebook, but I do not sit down every day and say I'm going to be funny in this notebook for an hour or on this computer screen. I can't do that. I can't just turn on the
Mm.
funny spigot. Some comics can do that. I am always looking for humor. I'm always observing. I'm always listening to people's conversations. And when I see or hear something, then it goes into my notebook. And then I try and figure out how do I work that into a bit on stage.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think all of us should kind of keep track of things that uplift us. That sounds like a good
Yes,
idea to me. Um,
absolutely.
okay, we've got Barbara here, and she says, great philosophical approach. I love that. That people feel better or are better because of our input and presence. Well, couldn't agree more with that. And then
Yeah,
Cecily says, comics are highly intelligent. Hey,
we are. Oh, thank you, Cecily.
how do you figure out a joke that takes a jab at the complicated situations?
Good question again. I feel well. I feel that the to start with, I like for example, I think the pandemic. Um, and I'm going to say this, and that people are probably going to be like, "No, it wasn't." I will say the pandemic was funny, and a lot of people will say, "Well, no, it wasn't." I lost 3 relatives to COVID-19.
Mm,
Okay, that's not the same thing.
no.
COVID-19 is not funny. What happened to our lives in those 2 years? There was a lot of humor that could be found in there. I believe any situation, any topic can be funny. I've been, and you probably have too, Stephanie. I've been to some hilarious funerals. Okay, I have. I've been to funerals where people laughed more than they cried, and
And
people
that's a good thing.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So when you take a tricky subject like that, I think the important thing is to try and figure out what can we all relate to. What like, and I'll use the pandemic as an example. Um, you think of some of the craziness, whether doing things like this, virtual meetings, where your
Mhm.
cat walked onto the computer screen, or homeschooling your kids when you had no clue how to do that. Humor is what got a lot of people through the pandemic. So I believe it's just sort of massaging and trying to figure out what are people going to be relating to. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the ways I know a joke works, obviously, is if people laugh. But what's even more important to me and what I enjoy more is seeing people nod their heads in agreement. If I can see that in an audience,
Yeah.
then I know whatever I'm saying is resonating. They're getting it.
Right.
I have the perspective that I've chosen. They're agreeing with.
Well, has your act or your approach to comedy changed now that lives are returning? Will it change at all? What will you do differently?
I know. I don't think I will do anything differently. I think my material has always been very self-deprecating. I believe that's key. Also, I think if you can make yourself the butt of the joke, um,
Mhm.
in whatever way, I think that's a good approach to take, because I think people are more inclined to laugh when they don't feel they're being made fun of. Again, we'll go back to the Will Smith incident. Will Smith was having a great old time laughing at all those jokes until he told one about his wife. Okay. Now,
Right.
does that all of a sudden make Chris Rock a horrible person? No, I don't think it does. Does it make him somebody that you want to take a swing at? Absolutely not. It became personal to him. So I'd like to talk about me and things that have happened to me and try and put at the same time put people in my shoes, but I'm talking about myself. And I think if you can do that, then audiences really let their guard down.
Well, we're going to take a little break here, Greg,
Okay.
and we will be back about 1 minute.
All
So
right.
stay tuned, and we will talk to Greg some more about comedy.
You're listening to All About Us Radio. We're live streaming 24/7, playing old school versus new school. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at AAU Media, and visit our website www.aaumedia.com. Call us at 1-833-369-1444, extension 1, and leave us an inspirational message or request. You're listening to All About Us Radio. You're listening.
Okay, we're back. This is the Safe Kids Now show, and we're talking to comedian Greg Schwem. Did I say that right?
No, you had it right.
No.
Schwem.
Schwem.
There you go.
Okay, I get it. And we're so happy to have him join us because, you know, this is difficult times for everyone, and we need some laughter in our lives. And one of the things, you know, this is the Safe Kids Now show. So I want to know, how does this affect your family? Because you have to be gone a lot.
I am.
And yeah, how does it affect the kids?
Well, you know, my children have, because I've been doing this so long, my children have never known me to have done anything else. So they've grown up having a dad as a comedian. They have grown up knowing that dad sometimes has to miss events.
Yeah.
But now on the flip side, because I do a lot of corporate dates, and a lot of corporate dates take place in Orlando. My children have been to Disney World, probably more than should be legally allowed. They've been to some very nice places. And I think, even though they probably want to admit it, they probably think it's kind of cool that dad has a job that none of the other dads have. So you take the positives with the negatives.
Yeah, well, you know, that's great that because there's so many men that do have jobs that take them away from the home.
Yes.
And it's kind of rewarding to have your dad as a comic, I would think. So
yeah, and the good thing is, I mean, I also, but when I'm home, and I have been. There are times when, you know, I'm home for all week long. So and I've probably been able to take part in activities that dads with a 9-to-5 job would never be able to, even if they didn't travel.
Okay. Well, now what did you decide is your favorite venue? If you have a choice, which one is the one that would be number one? That's the one I want to do.
Oh, like a venue that I've actually done, or a venue that I wish I could do?
Both.
Both. Okay. Well, the one I would always want to do would be Radio City Music Hall or Carnegie Hall.
Ooh.
One of those two in New
Whoa.
York City. That would be probably the 1 and 2. As far as venues that I have worked at, the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, just because of I love history. I love entertain. Knowing that I have stood on the same stage as some of the world's biggest stars at certain times is just, to me, you know, it'd be like probably the first time a baseball player walks into Yankee Stadium and says, Babe Ruth swung the bat right here. Okay. So I would say that would be that would probably be one of them. The Chicago Theater. I live in Chicago. The Chicago Theater, which is old and has had everybody there from Frank Sinatra to who knows, and all of whom have signed the wall in the back, and just going around and seeing that was very cool. So I would say those are any venue with some history attached to it are the ones I enjoy playing the most.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So when are you coming to Las Vegas? It seems to me when we talked way back when, you were coming down to do a corporate show.
Yes, we just missed it. You just missed it. It was just last week.
Oh, was it?
Yes, it was. I was in Vegas. In fact, gosh darn, it was a week ago today, I think. Nah, what's today? Wednesday? It was a week ago yesterday. So I flew back on Wednesday. But it's nice to see that Vegas is back up and running, because that's another one of my favorite places to perform is Las Vegas. I enjoy. I've worked most of the big hotels there, usually in corporate conference ballrooms and so forth. But I find the city to be fascinating, and I'm glad to see it that it's back on its feet.
Well, I had dinner. I had guests come and visit just last week, and we were down in Vegas, and the place was mobbed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about Vegas being back. It was wall-to-wall people.
Right.
So,
right. Well, and I think that's a classic example of how people are so starved for entertainment. I mean, we were cooped up for so long, and I think that you're seeing those people just now that they do feel safer, just coming back to places that they loved in droves. It's like, when this is over, this is going to be the first place I go because I've missed it so much.
Yeah. I think people are saying, I need entertainment.
Yes.
I need music. I need comedy. I need dancing, whatever. And that's why we are seeing a mob scene here. Because
But it shows that again, it goes back to what we talked about in our early conversation. It shows the positive benefits of laughter, of live entertainment, of being around one another. And maybe quarantine was a wake-up call for a lot of people.
I think it was. I don't think it was all bad. I think it was important for people to kind of wake up to what's happening in not just in our schools, for example, in our communities, how we can make a difference ourselves. Each one of us has the power to make a difference. And I think it's been a wake-up call for all of us. So I agree with you. I don't think it's been a bad thing. No. Now, what one thing would you like to impart to our audience that you haven't said?
One thing that I haven't said, I think what I really want to tell the audience is that, and again, this is something I think needs to be stressed in light of what happened at the Academy Awards, is that not everybody thinks the same things are funny. And it is true, and it will always be. And to try and get people to come to your way of thinking what is funny is not going to work. It's not going, nor should it, nor should it be something. But listen to what other people, as opposed to just brushing aside and saying that's not funny, he's not funny, she's not funny, this is stupid. Actually look at it and get other people's opinions, and you might change your mind. And at the end of the day, just remember that what we're trying to do is make people feel better. That's what comedians try to do. We are trying to make people feel better.
I love that, because I think it's so important that we inspire each other, make each other laugh, or whatever. And Barbara adds here, she says, we need human contact and physical socialization.
Yes, we do. I agree.
I agree with that.
I think, I always say, because people are getting very offended about what comedians are saying on stage or things like that. But I think if you surveyed, and I think some comics are forgetting I will probably get a pushback from comedians on this, but I think some comics are forgetting what our job is, which is what I just said. It is to make people laugh. I think there's a lot of comics who feel like, because I have a microphone, I need to give my opinions on politics or what, and which is fine if it's fine. If there's a joke in there, a lot of times there isn't. And I think if you But I think I always say, I think if you surveyed 100 people who were waiting outside a comedy club on a Saturday night to come in and you said, what do you hope you get out of tonight? What do you hope happens? I don't think anybody would say, I really hope that my views on the Ukraine situation are challenged by the guy on stage. I don't think anybody's going to say that. I think what they're all going to say is, I want to laugh. That's what I want to do. I came here to laugh. Make me laugh.
I couldn't agree with you more. If I'm going to be entertained, I want to be entertained. I don't want to hear what their political philosophy is.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. It's fine, but make me laugh at the same time. And there's comics that are very good at that, and there's a lot who aren't.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Greg, you've been a light spirit coming into our homes and our venues here. And I thank you so much for joining us, because we're going to look for you and we want to come and see you. And so where are you appearing next?
Well, the thing about it is, a lot of what I do, again, as we said, is private. So it's kind of hard to see me live because I don't do a lot of club dates. However, you can, and you see below, you see my social media and so forth. And I'm always posting things on social media. And that's a great way to see me. So if you can follow me on those social media channels, great. And Stephanie, I want to say thanks for having me on, because I know this is, as you said, this is a departure for you. And I know, talk about some very serious subjects as part of what you do and what your passion is, and that's keeping kids safe. So I'm sure that there might be some viewers who are like, what the heck is this guy doing on? But again, laughter is always a great departure from even the most serious of subjects. So thank you for doing that.
Well, Rebecca has a final comment here, and she says, we never had a swimming pool and I never learned how to swim properly. But with you around, I think I could learn. You are cool.
Thank you. Okay. There was always the bicycle reference too, Rebecca. If you want to put that in there, because I get that all the time too. Schwab, like the bike. No, but okay.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And I'm going to follow you, and I invite everybody else to follow you. And
I'll be coming back to Vegas at some point, because there's just so many business conventions in Vegas. It's only a matter of time before I get back out there. And let's reconnect, okay?
Let's do it. I'd love it. Okay.
Right.
Well, thank you again, and we will hopefully talk to you soon. So have a great day and keep them laughing.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Okay. Have a great day.
You too. Oh my goodness. I love having Greg join us today, because, we all need to learn how to laugh, and laugh we will. I think we're going to do it. And I've got a very interesting guest next week, and her name is Angela Bronson, and she is a Los Angeles deputy district attorney, and she prosecutes child sex offenders and online child predators. And I invite you to invite other people to join us, because we're going to talk about how to keep your kids safe. Because we have been listening to people earlier and that have talked about how dangerous the internet is for children. But she's going to give us some concrete tips on what you can do as a parent. Okay, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye. Peace.
Throw and Tuck. It's handmade by myself, and you only can get it here, and it's patent, and it's only here at Rococo Design. It's like a regular pillow, or you can take the blanket out like so, fluff up the pillow, open up your blanket, wrap it around yourself, and then you can lay on your sofa and relax with your pillow, throw and tuck. When you're done with it, just flip it over. When you don't want the blanket anymore, you just fold it over twice, fold it over twice again, fold it over, and tuck it in the back. And there you go. You're back to the pillow, throw, and tuck. Rococo Design.